Hello, my name is Jacqueline Guest, and I'd like to welcome you to our virtual book talk. Today's book is Death by Dinosaur, a young adult novel suitable for grades 5 to 9. This book will confuse and challenge you, plus it will give your brain a real workout to solve the case of who done it and why do it. Death by Dinosaur is filled with mystery, science, and a strange murder involving a long extinct dinosaur. One of the reasons I enjoyed writing Death by Dinosaur was because of the lead character, Samantha Stellar. Samantha is smart, a bit of a jockette, and definitely not into the beauty queen scene. Oh, and she's also a rule breaker. She'd rather try for forgiveness than to ask for permission. And she won't give up on a case even if it costs her, well, maybe her life. You see, Sam plans to be a spy. She's dreamed of being a spy for years. She's been training to be a spy since she was a little kid. Sam thinks for herself and doesn't let anything or anyone get in her way, even her best friend or her too-cute lab partner. The book is set at the Royal Tyrrell Museum, which is a real museum in Drumheller, Alberta, and the Tyrrell is filled with all the dinosaur fossils anyone could ever want. This book is not for young children, however. Death by Dinosaur opens with a rather horrible murder. A museum guard has been killed in a most gruesome way. He was impaled on the horn of a triceratops. The poor guy was stuck on the end of the horn like a marshmallow ready for toasting over a campfire. Not a nice way to go, but a great way to start a mystery book. By the way, a triceratops looks ferocious with its 3 nasty horns, but it was a herbivore. It only ate plants. Other dinosaurs, like the Tyrannosaurus rex, were carnivores, and that meant they ate our triceratops. They were meat eaters. Sam is thrilled to be working at the Tyrrell Museum for the summer. She planned it, she prepared for it, she persuaded her cousin to be in on it, and then she'd made it happen. Now all she has to do is wait for a shipment of very special dinosaur bones to arrive. She's sure that one of those fossils is going to be stolen. A fossil is a bone that has been turned into stone over millions of years. The fossil bone Sam is waiting for could change history, or could cost someone their life. Now here's a dino fact you may not know. Nearly all dinosaurs had feathers. Birds are descended from dinosaurs. In fact, a chicken and a Tyrannosaurus rex are directly related. They're first cousins. Proteins taken from a fossil T-Rex bone and a chicken bone prove it. When an important mystery bone goes missing, Sam knows her case has started. Being different, and she is, means not everyone understands her. Remember, this is a girl who wants to be a spy. She has no problem with ignoring warnings and putting herself in danger if it means solving the case. With this case, however, the stakes have been raised. Now she's playing a deadly game with someone who is already brutally killed to get the first fossil that went missing. What it means for Sam is that this is no longer a game. This is her life. Scientists who study fossils are called paleontologists. They're the ones who go out in the field and find the lost dinosaur fossils embedded in rocks. Dinos don't come nicely separated from the rocks they've slept in for 100 million years. When they are found in the wild, the slab of rock they are in is called the matrix. This matrix is cut out. Then a wrapping of burlap and plaster, like a cast you get when you break your leg, is carefully put around the fossil. This plaster cast protects it from being broken when it is shipped. Once it arrives at the museum, the plaster has to be removed before the work of breaking out the fossil from the rock matrix can begin. The trouble with burlap and plaster covered bones is that you can't actually see what's inside the wrapping, and a summer student like Sam can't be sure what she's looking at. Well, not 100% sure, maybe 99% sure. Once the jacket is broken off, the work of removing the rock matrix surrounding the fossil begins. Paleontologists work with very special tools. One of these tools is an air scribe, which blasts air to remove the stone from the fossil. They also use tiny hammers and saws and even dental picks. In fact, paleontologists have been known to use deadly acids. Plus, when working with fossils, You need to pack your patience in your toolkit. It can take thousands of hours of precision work to free our fossil friends. Watching this process is fascinating. The finished result is incredible. But how do you tell rock from the bone? They look very similar. Well, I guess that's why paleontologists go to school for so many years. Without dedicated scientists like those working at the Tyrrell Museum, we would not have today's cutting-edge understanding of how things began. Important discoveries are being made all the time. What if the bone you are working on could prove to be the missing link between ancient worlds? Something so important it would rewrite the paleontology books. Then it would be a very valuable find indeed. Every paleontologist in the world would want that bone. Some would pay millions to have it, but would it be worth your life? Sam has access to many parts of the museum. She has a special key card that opens lots of doors, but not all the doors. This means she could get trapped in a room with no way out. Death comes in many shapes and sizes. Remember, the first murder was with a triceratops horn. Sam knows the room filled with heavy, sharp, deadly dinosaur bones may not be the best place to be caught. If you get a chance, go to the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology in Drumheller, Alberta, and explore the world Sam worked in and may die in. Learn about those long disappeared ancient reptiles that once roamed the land, swam in the oceans, and filled the sky. Their hidden world is waiting for you to discover. Now, I've brought a couple of fossils for you to see and enjoy. Unlike what was on the Flintstones, humans and dinosaurs did not exist at the same time. Humans came millions of years after dinosaurs went extinct. Now, the first fossil I would like to show you is actually a dinosaur egg. This is a real hadrosaur egg. Hadrosaurs roamed Alberta millions of years ago. They started out very small, all curled up inside this egg. And when they hatched, they would be approximately this size. But they didn't stay this size for very long. Pretty soon they are going to be taller than a building. Now, I've also brought a selection of coprolites. Now, coprolites are very, very important to paleontologists because with coprolites, you can discover all kinds of things about the dinosaurs. Here's a couple of samples of my coprolites. Now, with coprolites, paleontologists can tell what a dinosaur ate, whether it was a meat eater, whether it ate plants. It can also tell whether a dinosaur was sick, whether it had bugs in its guts, or whether it had parasites or a disease. Now, the thing about coprolites is you may know them by another name. They were dinosaur dung. Yes, these are fossilized dino droppings, and as I said, they were very important. And now I'd like to read to you an excerpt from Death by Dinosaur. At this part in the story, Sam has narrowed down the fossil thief to a short list of suspects. She sets a trap at the museum, knowing the real thief was sure to take her bait. Now, this is what happens when Sam sets her trap. The light was failing rapidly as Sam stashed her bike in a clump of bushes at the far edge of the parking lot. There were no cars, and she couldn't see any lights on in the museum. Good, she'd beat the thief here. Settling in behind the cotoneaster hedge, Sam made sure she had a clear view of both the main and staff entrances. She didn't know how long she'd have to wait and hoped it would all be over soon. Time crawled painfully by, and her legs were cramped from the prolonged stint in the bushes, when she thought she heard a noise behind her. With lightning speed, a black-gloved hand clamped tightly over her mouth. Panic seized her as she felt herself being dragged further back into the bushes. Sam tried to scream. She clawed at the vice-tight arm holding her. Twisting, she turned to see who'd grabbed her, but the iron grip forced her head down, squeezing her windpipe. Her mind raced as she struggled to take in oxygen. Suddenly, Sam saw a blinding flash. The dying rays of the sun glinted ominously off a polished steel blade. He had a knife. A knife! The previous summer, she'd taken a self-defense course. Frantically, Sam tried to recall the basic techniques she'd been taught. From the corner of her eye, she spied her assailant's foot. Then, using all her strength, she smashed her heel onto his instep. He cried out in pain, and Sam felt the grip loosen. She quickly drove her elbows into his ribs. 1, 2, the lethal hold faltered. Seizing her chance, Sam bolted for the building. Ice slid down her spine as she remembered seeing black gloves like those before. With horror, she realized she'd made a fatal mistake. She hadn't accounted for everyone involved. She hadn't accounted for the one person who had started this all in the first place. If she could make it into the building, she'd be safe. As far as she knew, he didn't have a security card to open the doors. Her legs burned from the exertion, and all she could hear was the blood pounding in her ears. Panting, she reached the employee entrance. As she fumbled in her pockets for the magic card, footsteps pounded behind her. Pulling a comb out of her pocket, she dropped it to the ground. A package of gum was next, followed by a wad of scrunched-up bills, the remains of her paycheck. Her fingers touched the card, and relief flooded through her. With shaking hands, she held the plastic key card up to the scanner, praying the machine would read the code quickly. Mercifully, the lock clicked, and Sam pulled the door open. Slamming it closed behind her, she stumbled down the darkened hallway. Her breath came in raspy gasps. She tried to calm her breathing and told herself she was safe. She was safe. The adrenaline in her system started to wear off, and she slumped to the floor. Then she wearily took a deep breath. She was safe. Sam thought back to the harrowing attack. With a tingling buzz, her weirdometer spiked, sending prickles coursing through her entire body. She hadn't actually seen her assailant's face, and anyone can wear black gloves. Panic twisted her stomach. "Don't do it," she told herself. "Don't do it. The monster under the bed can't get you if you don't look." She glanced back at the door. Then she heard it. The unmistakable clicking sound of a lock being released. Her heart slammed in her chest, and her throat tightened, choking off a scream. The door slowly opened. There, silhouetted against the evening sky, was a dark figure, and he was holding the deadly blade. Sam is in trouble. This is a fun mystery to read, with a hidden twist at the end. And I would like to thank you for coming out today and listening to my virtual book talk on Death by Dinosaur. See you tomorrow.